Hey guys, what's up? It's Drake
and Matt from Branch Ministries, where we make disciples
who make disciples
until
the whole world hears.
This is our donations video, so we're going to be talking to you guys a little bit about donating to Branch Ministries.
So why donate to Branch Ministries?
Donating to Branch Ministries is one of the main ways that keeps our organization running. It makes our ministry here at Branch possible. And with a worldwide, a global ministry such as Branch Ministries, it makes it financially demanding. And with no income, we'll be unable to reach those globally. Now, where do those donations actually go? If you donate to Branch, where is your money actually going?
So your donations go to help us with travel, our flights, our transportation, places for us to stay, and helps us with clothes, food, books if we need them, Bibles for the people that need them, building projects and supplies for our houses, schools, orphanages, and church buildings.
But we want to get a little more into detail with you guys. And right now we want to talk to you guys about your donations being the difference between this ministry being a part-time ministry and being a full-time ministry.
So part-time, this ministry would be more like a hobby. We would take a trip here or there, or we could go with an organization that's already established down there, that's already filling the need, but there's not a lot of new growth that's being made. No supplies for those in need, no builds or teaching that gets done, no teaching or mobilizing gets done.
Now there's the full-time. It becomes a job, and it really is a job. With all the work that we have to do to make these trips possible, the amount of time that it takes away from our jobs on a normal day, we can work those jobs. But we have to have an income. We have to be able to support ourselves and our families financially. But in this ministry, the hours that it requires are full-time hours. So we really have to be able to pick one or the other. And if we're not making money here at Branch Ministries, we're not going to be able to give the amount of time that it requires for such a global ministry. And we're going to have to work a 9-to-5 job so we can support ourselves financially. And then that means the time necessary for the ministry won't be happening, and along with it, neither will the ministry. We also have our own mission. We have our, not just goals that we like to set out to reach certain people, but we have the needs that we are going to reach, and we may not be able to reach those needs. There's lots of stuff that we have to do that requires us to be a full-time ministry. We have to gather supplies for trips. It might be finding supplies if we're going to build a house. We're also able to go from trip to trip if this is a full-time thing. So if we are in Africa and we're in Kenya, and then after we've done church planning and maybe help build some houses or do whatever it is we did on that trip, then we have to go home. And we have to take time at home, and we have to work, and we have to save our money, and then we can go back. But it's going to be about 6 months before we might be able to go back. But if this is a full-time job, then every time we are on a trip, we're on the clock. Now, don't think we're getting paid and paying ourselves some money when we're on the trip, because then that's 24 hours after 24 hours after 24 hours. That's not what I mean by on the clock. I mean the ministry that we're doing, we make money to do, so we're able to be on those trips, and we don't have to worry about coming back right away. We don't have to worry about going one place and come home. Wait a little bit, go another place and come home. And that way we're able to make a bigger impact and meet even more and more needs and plant more churches and make more and more disciples and just branch out even more. We're able to connect with churches worldwide and the needs worldwide. We're able to take the time to find those needs and find those churches that need our help so we can go and help them. But it takes time to work with them and reach out to them and connect with them. We have to manage the money, and managing the finances takes a little bit of time to make sure that we are able to use our money in the best way so that it will go the longest and that we can go and help as many needs as possible. We want to make every trip as cheap as possible so that we can go on 2 trips for the price of 1, and that means we might be able to plan 2 churches instead of 1. That takes time to plan. That takes time to figure out and get a game plan drawn up for that. Then we have to manage the trips themselves. We have to manage transportation. Yes, there's a flight and that itinerary, but then there's also transportation from the airport Who do we have that's able to pick us up? We walk with people down there, but in some countries, they don't always have a car. They don't always have a car. They might be living in poverty. We might be going to help a preacher at his church, and he rides a bicycle around. They don't always have cars. I rode with a preacher one time in a country in the Dominican Republic, and his truck, his pickup truck, eventually, by the time we were halfway through the trip, the hood was gone. We're just driving down the highway one day and the hood falls off, and now he has a pickup truck with no hood. And then the engine starts to break down. Different things happen. And he was somebody who actually did have transportation. But what if we're taking a team down? We can't fit a bunch of kids in one pickup truck, at least not safely anyway. So we have to plan certain things, and it takes time to really plan everything. And this is transportation to get from other places, not just from the airport. If we're going to help plan this church here and go plant another church in another town, it takes the transportation to get from place to place. And in some countries where there's poverty, it's not as easy as it is here in the States. Not every country has an Uber driving service or taxis. So it's not as easy as we might think it is in America, so it takes some time to plan. We have to plan the classes that we have, and we plan discipleship programs and have the classes. It takes time to prep for those classes. We have to prep services because we will plan churches, and then we have to have services where we are trying to bring people in off the streets to come in and just hear a preacher preach the gospel. And it takes time to invite people from around the community, different things like that. And we don't know the community that we're walking into, and it takes time meeting with the preachers to come up with a plan for how we're going to do that. There's the projects, there's the builds, building houses, building church buildings, even building schools. Managing a mission team. Managing a mission team is a lot of work. You have meetings with the teams, you have to prep them, because a lot of these guys and girls that go on these trips, they haven't gone before. They're scared. They don't know what it's like. We have to prep them, we have to tell them what to expect. And not that it's anything bad, but it's new to them. We have to tell them what they're walking into, what they get to walk into, and how they get to help. We have to plan who on this team, on this mission team, is able to do what, and how can we use them when we're on that trip. There's so many things that we have to do when it comes to managing a team. We have to work with them financially, help them to fundraise, and that takes time. All of these things take a lot of time, and on top of all of that, with the team trips and with just trips that Drake and myself might go on, or anybody here at Branch Ministries might go on, we have to plan the safety. Especially if we're taking kids, we're taking families from churches in the United States or anywhere in the world, they're trusting us to keep them safe. We have to plan where we're going to go, what are the safest places to go, when we need to be where so we can make sure we're safe. And that stuff takes a lot of planning, and we're not going to slack off on it because it's important. It's safety. And we're going to take all the time necessary to make sure that anybody going on the trip with Branch Ministries is going to be safe. And we also want to be safe as well when we go on our own trips to help plan churches. And we need to be able to find the needs around the globe. It takes time to work with churches and find out exactly what their needs are. We take time to research and work with other ministry organizations that know of other needs that haven't been met. If we're able to help with that, then we're going to meet with those organizations and see what we can do to partner with them to help. And that takes a lot of time.
So by allowing us to go full time, we can really branch out and do all of those things that Matt's been saying. And if you watch our main video, you would see exactly what can be done and what we can do with your help. And we can do this full time.
Now, here's the big thing. How can church congregations get involved?
Well, this goes for congregations all around the country, and honestly, congregations all around the world that can help.
And the best part is, you guys don't even have to pay any money.
Really?
You guys, all you have to do is build a team at your local congregation and come on a trip with us. This will help us do a couple of things.
Fulfill the needs in the places that we go. It's going to give you a life-changing experience and all the people who go with us. And it helps our organization keep running and keep reaching that goal to reach the whole world with the gospel.
These team trips help us to do the different ministries that we have outside of church planning and discipleship. We're able to build schools. We're able to build homes. Build a school in Africa. You hear about that all the time. And that's something that we want to do not once, but we want to continue to do that. We want to continue to build homes for people in poverty. We want to build church buildings. When we plant churches, sometimes in some countries, that means making a building at some point. And we want to be able to do that as well. When we do that, that's going to be on our team trips. We're going to be walking with kids who are orphans, who don't have parents. We're going to be walking with those in poverty and helping those who go daily without food or clothes or a roof over their head. And we need your help. This is a huge part of how that we keep running, as well as to help continue to make a difference. And like I said, you don't even have to pay. Now, of course, there is the people going on the trip that have to pay. And what I mean by that is when you go on a mission trip, if you've ever been on a mission trip, you have to pay for your own personal trip. But there's no money coming out of the congregation's pocket. You guys aren't taking money out of your bank account. It's just each person fundraising for their own individual trip. And we know that mission trips, they can be pricey. Financially, they can be a little bit difficult because sometimes it gets to be a little bit of money more than you're comfortable with just spending at the mall. So what we will do is we'll provide you with a packet. We give you guys this packet, and it's going to give you many ways to help fundraise for mission trips that have been proven effective.
You can help to make these differences and help make them continue on with just simple things. Get a team. There's no money out of the congregation's pocket, and they come back changed. And so will the people that they helped. And it will continue on and on and on.
We'll be able to continue our ministry as well. But as for right now, guys, I just want to finish with the story for you guys and show you really what your donations can do. See, a lot of times when people donate to a mission trip, they don't see the difference. They don't see what actually happens. All they see is the money coming out of their pocket. They see it on their bank balance, but aside from that, they don't see a lot of difference. Sometimes they see the pictures and videos that come back, which is what we really want to be able to provide you guys with. But one trip I want to talk to you guys about specifically, and this also was a trip to the Dominican Republic. We had a fundraiser, and a lot of people donated their money, and they said, look, we don't see what actually happens. We know you guys do, but we do know something happens. So we want to be able to donate money and help make this possible. And this fundraiser actually raised $900, not for somebody to go on a trip, but towards the team that was going. They took $900. They bought supplies for this one trip. And one of the things that they bought with the $900 was a stack of Bibles. And in the Dominican Republic, they speak Spanish. So they were Spanish Bibles. So we had Bibles that were in their native language, and we brought it down and we handed them out. We gave them away. It was amazing. And then the trip ended. We came back home, and I actually went down a couple of months later, and I was staying with somebody who was actually a part of that trip, and he had a stack of the Bibles that was left over in his home, and they were in the closet in the very back, buried under a bunch of sheets and everything. And I went in the closet looking for something one day, and I came across the Bibles. When I came across the Bibles, I picked them up, I brought them over to him, and I said, did you know these were still there? And he goes, I've been looking for those. And he said, let's take them when we go do our next study. So we go to do a study down the street in this local church building. And some of the people that were there were actually from Haiti. And I remember just a couple days before that I had met them. And we were digging a hole. And we're digging like this hole, I mean, it is like 15 feet deep. And it's on the side of a mountain. And I'm in the hole with this guy and the guy I was staying with. And I find out that he had walked over from Haiti just a couple weeks ago. For 5 days straight, he walks up the mountain and he walks into the church building one Sunday morning, and they're having church service, and he sits down and he hears the gospel. And by the end of that time, he was talking with a preacher, and a couple days later, he was baptized. And he's now saying that he's digging that hole, and as I'm in the hole with him, we're helping to build on to the church building. And he was at that study that we went to. and I bring the Bibles over to the study, and I sit him down, and he didn't have a Bible, and his friend, who was also from Haiti, that had walked over with him, he had a Bible, but it was not in the best condition. I mean, this thing, it was just about black, all the pages were ripped up. It looked like it had been buried underground and left there for like 10 years. I mean, and this Bible, you couldn't barely read it. But this first guy, he didn't even have a Bible. So I hand them both a Bible. And they use it for the study. And after the study, the guy, he gives it back to me. And I say, no, it's for you, like solo party, like for you in Spanish. And if you're watching this and you speak Spanish, I know that was terrible. But I tell him, like, in Spanish, this is for you. And he looks at me. He spoke like 3 words in Spanish, at least for 2 of them. And he goes, for me? And his eyes got huge, and he was so excited. I'm like, see, yeah, it's for you. And I give him the Bible. He's like, oh, gracias, thank you, gracias. And he takes it with him, and he was so happy because he had walked 5 days, walked up the mountain, walked into church, heard the gospel, and then he's now standing there as a Christian in the study, and he got his first Bible. And he was so happy, and I gave one to the other guy, and he was just as excited. And we come back the next week, and we do another study, and I'm sitting there teaching him, and I'm teaching him what the name of Jesus means, and he's taking the blank pages in the beginning and the end of the Bible, and he's taking notes in them, and he's learning as much as he can. And then a couple weeks later, he actually had to go back to Haiti, so he takes the Bible, he puts it in his pocket. He had like cargo pants on, so he had those big pockets in the side, and he puts it in his pocket, and he walks back with the Bible in his pocket, the notes in the Bible, and just the clothes on his back. And he walks another 5 days back to Haiti, and he starts taking that Bible that he has and the notes that he has in it, and he's not only sharing the gospel, but he's teaching lessons, and he's just spreading the gospel all around Haiti. Now, where did he get the Bible? I handed it to him after we brought it over on a mission trip where we had funds that provided those Bibles to even make that possible. And now he's spreading the gospel in the Dominican and in Haiti. And it all started with donations. Like, I know you guys can't always see exactly what happens. You know, here at Branch, we want to be able to do the best thing that we can, the best things that we can to make it so you guys can be involved. And that's why we're going to have so many videos going out and take all the time to do that with your support financially, that is. But that's the difference that it makes. And we just hope that you guys would be able to see that and donate to Branch Ministries.
We often show our love for God and His gospel and the steps that we're willing to take to see that it is successfully given to every person. So guys, please remember to go back and watch our main video if you haven't seen what exactly it is that we do here, and you'll see exactly what your donations and what your financial assistance helps us be able to do.